Welcome back, everyone. It's time for Throwback Thursday.
Welcome back to the Lessons for Success podcast. I'm your host, Adam Wardlaw, a middle school science teacher and a high school football coach in South Carolina. Thank you for tuning in to the podcast heard by over 2,000 students, teachers, and coaches worldwide. The goal is to provide quick daily lessons to help you achieve more in your life. Be sure to reach out to the show on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and now TikTok by searching L4S Show or using the hashtag L4S Show. Remember, it's the number 4. If you're listening on an iPhone, be sure to give the show a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts in order to keep our community growing. Now let's start the show. Ronald Reagan, aka the Great Communicator, was born on this day, February 6th, in the year 1911. Welcome back, everybody. It's Throwback Thursday here on the Lessons for Success show, and on today's episode, we're looking at the life of America's 40th president. Ronald Reagan was known for having the ability to reach the average Joe in America. He was able to give them optimism about their futures in a way that other presidents were unable to achieve. This may have come from his humble roots during his upbringing. You see, although Reagan is known for his career in Hollywood, he actually grew up in a lower-class family in Illinois. After graduating high school in the midst of the Great Depression, Reagan had very few options career-wise. He began working in the radio industry and eventually worked his way into movies. His first big break came in 1937 when Warner Brothers offered Reagan a 7-year contract where he would be making $200 a week. Reagan would go on to star in 50 films in his acting career. Reagan began his political career in 1962 and was a member of the Republican Party. His first major victory would be becoming governor of California in 1965. Reagan eventually set his eyes on the White House, and at the age of 69, he became the oldest president at the time. Reagan would be known for his major tax cuts during his run as president. He also saw the end of the Cold War against the Soviet Union. He would leave office in 1988 with a high approval rating among the American public. Sadly, 6 years later, he announced he was suffering from Alzheimer's, and in 2004, at the age of 93, President Reagan would pass away. So what lessons can we draw from the historical life of Ronald Reagan? I think it's interesting to think that a man who grew up in poverty would go on to have a high-profile life in Hollywood and politics. I think it goes to show that you may not be in control of the circumstances you are born in, but you can control the direction that your life goes. Reagan was able to use his upbringing to his advantage when he was in office. He related to the average American who went through struggles, and he provided optimism that resonated with Americans. Without his upbringing, Reagan may not have been able to have this talent when he was president. So no matter what your situation is, don't make excuses, just make your situation better. Take advantage of opportunities and make your life what you want. Thank you all for tuning in to another edition of Throwback Thursday. What'd y'all think of today's episode? Let me know by reaching out to the show on social media. Talk to you guys tomorrow. Well, folks, that's it for another edition of the Lessons for Success podcast. Thank you for listening. Remember that you can keep up with the show wherever podcasts are found, as well as the newly updated Lessons for Success YouTube channel. Be sure to follow the show on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, or TikTok to keep up with more content from the show. If you haven't already done so, give the show a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts. That's all the time I have for today. Be sure to tune in for the next episode of the Lessons for Success show.